Hey, I got to pull a turbo to this because the turbo is leaking. I don't know if you can see here, but let me see if I can get you in here to see. There is movement up and down on the shaft, and it is leaking oil. It's leaking oil into the intercooler. Okay, so it's leaking oil into the intercooler. Alright, so you got 3 bolts here, 1, 2, and then the back one that I left on. And then you have a mounting bracket on the bottom. You have the oil in banjo. And then on the bottom, there is 2 bolts on the side of into the oil out into the oil pan, and there are 2 bolts on that. And then here you have this, which is the clamp for the back of the turbo going to the exhaust pipe, and then there's a wiring harness underneath. So the turbo is leaking oil into the intercooler, into the intake. I'll pull the intake here. Right here's the intake tube. Pull this out. I think I got that loose enough so I can do it with my hand. There we go. That is removed. That holds the intake tube. And you can see right there, there is oil. Now the first time I opened that, there was almost a tablespoon full of oil. So let me put that back. Let me put this back. This is hard to do one-handed, as many mechanics will tell you, but this one's back on. This is coming from the intercooler. So that means my intercooler, which is all the way down in there, you can see the tube running to it, the one goes down, and the intercooler is between the radiator. Let me see if I can get a shot of this upside down. Okay, you can see the tube right here that goes to the intercooler. The intercooler is on the front side of the radiator. And the fan, if you can see it there's a fan. It hits the intercooler first, and then the intercooler comes out from the bottom, up, over, and in. So got a brand new EGR valve there, which was replaced by Mercedes. Now there's also another problem with these. The wiring harness. So along this wiring harness, either here or here, sorry I'm wearing black gloves, but either here or here, they rub against the head and they short. We were coming back from Virginia towing a trailer, and you see this zip tie. I had to daisy chain some zip ties. We stalled 9 times on a 2-lane country road pulling a trailer, and we had all kinds of people behind us. And so I pulled off the first wide spot in the road, and I daisy chained these. I cut a zip tie down in there in the bottom to lift this up, to lift it off at this point right here. I had to lift this up. So that, like that, to keep it from stalling, and it throws a pt.1 pt.1 code, and that means open circuit injector. So what it does is it shorts out, and then your engine dies. Now this is a 2006 5-cylinder inline Sprinter, and we thought it was the EGR causing the problem, so we take it to Mercedes. They say the EGR is not working and you need it replaced. $1,100 later, it runs even worse. Why? Because my EGR was stuck in the closed position. I had great turbo response, and the thing ran like a raped ape at 80 mile an hour. No problems at all day long. We get the EGR replaced, and it becomes very sluggish. So we're going to go with a green diesel EGR delete kit. That will come in the future. So right now, I've got all this torn apart to tear this turbo apart, because the turbo seals and bearing, which are right in this area, right there, right where the oil intake goes in, there are 2 seals and a bearing. There might be more than one bearing. It's going to be $350 to have this turbo rebuilt. So I'm pulling the turbo to have it rebuilt, because it's $1,875 from Mercedes to get the turbo and the actuator. You can see the actuator arm right here in this corner. That is the actuator arm. So I'm down to just a couple of bolts having it. This back one back here on this corner, right back in there. It is broken, but it is loose. And let me tell you, these were a pain in the butt to get them to break loose. So I'm going underneath, and I will get back to you in a minute. A 5-cylinder 2.7 5-cylinder inline Mercedes turbo diesel in a Dodge. I think it's got the Dodge emblem up there. Dodge Sprinter. And this is an RV. Oops, there we go. This is an RV. That's where I sleep. And then back there you can see the lazy boy. That's where Dad sleeps. And don't forget Samson. He goes everywhere. Many blessings. Thank you very much. I got to get under this turbo and pull it out. Many blessings.